Welcome to another episode of Direct Edition. In the house this week. We're joined by Alex and Kasumi to check out 5 of this week's new comic book releases and some great new music. Stay where you are, we're getting on with it right now. First up this week, we've got to start with the Fantastic Four 583. What jumped out about this book immediately is just the coolness of Valeria Richards, daughter of Sue Richards and Reed Richards, and cleverer than both of them put together, it would appear.
What I was going to say is I've read a few of the side issues they've done where, like in the Secret Invasion, they've had the kids doing stuff. Yeah. And it's always been a bit like, oh, these kids are in trouble, need an adult to look after them. Yeah. And like you said, in this issue, she's more than capable of doing her own thing. Dr. Doom is in there, my favourite villain, and it's great kick-off. The relationship and the kind of the dynamic between Doom and Valeria is just insanely cool. The art on this book is great. This has been a really good run for the Fantastic Four. And it's all, this issue is now this counting down to this new big story they're going to be doing when the Fantastic Four actually become 3. Which one are they going to kill off? Who would you kill off? If you're going to kill off one of the Fantastic Four. Reed? Yeah. What are you talking about? Out of town. No, see you later. Man, you're a lunatic. See you later. What about you, Kasumi?
Valeria. No.
She's one of the official 4.
I know.
And she's a little kid. You're a kid killer.
I know, yeah.
Oh no. So what, the
Johnny
girl?
Storm.
Johnny Storm or Sue Storm? Sue. You'd kill Sue. You'd kill the girl. So when you're not killing kids, you're killing women, right? Johnny Storm is the one that goes. Clearly, Johnny Storm, because he's rubbish.
He is rubbish.
What else? You know what I mean? What, you know, you've got an emergency. Quick! I need to light a fag. Johnny, come on! Do you know what I mean? What use is he? Like Reed could build a flamethrower or something. You know what I mean? And just basically have like all of the power.
Are you saying he's on the team because of the marriage, that he's, you know, the brother-in-law, so he's only in there because of family ties? It's all politics.
I think he would have been kicked off the team had he not been like Sue's brother.
Yeah,
so, maybe. So if they're going to make it 3 rather than 4, get rid of Johnny. Don't get rid of Ben. Alright, so if you want to check it out for yourselves, it's on the shelves this week. 583 Fantastic Four. We really liked it. Power Girl issue 16 hits the shelves this week.
I like Power Girl a lot, and this was one of my favourites this week. I find this character so endearing, and the storyline, I find the plots are quite simple, but good for that. She's always being foiled by people, I find. Always, you know, some kind of thing that goes wrong with her thing, and I think she's very normal, a normal seeming girl, and I enjoy the fact that, you know, things don't always go right for her.
Do you not think she's just like super boobs? Do you know what I mean? Do you not get? I always just wonder, like,
if I thought that, I would say that, but I don't think so. I think she's endearing, and she's a little bit klutzy. I think she's a bit of a klutz, and I like that. She's always falling over, spilling things, knocking things over. I like klutz.
There's a scene in this where she gets had up by a dude who is essentially holding what turns out to be a vacuum cleaner. I don't think I'm blowing anything when I tell you that. And you're like, well, hold on a minute. You've got X-ray vision, you've got heat vision, you've got super breath, and you let some dude in glasses just come along and just basically have you up. So how did that happen? I think super stupidity is one of her powers.
That's the ongoing joke with her, though.
But sometimes you just think, man, seriously, you need to like read the manual for your powers or something. Do you know what I mean? Art on this is gorgeous, and she looks good as well.
Well, that's always been the problem for me, is that she's just always been like someone that looks good, but I have to agree with you there. The issue is quite endearing, and I am always a personal fan of flawed superheroes. And the fact that she's not always using her noodle, and that's probably her biggest hang-up, it is a bit endearing. I personally wouldn't collect it, but it was a very good issue to read.
Check it out, it's out this week. Power Girl, issue 16, on the shelves from today. The sprawling, epic zombie soap opera that is known as The Walking Dead hits the shelves this week. This is issue 77, and it's always a reliable read, this one, I find.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the stark black and white animation in this one. Also, the plots are so character-driven, and the human stories within are the thing that drives it for me. And I like the fact that you have several storylines, different characters that end up tying up. You know, they end up connecting somewhere along the lines. And I like that format. You know?
The different storylines do tie in, and sometimes writers at the last minute go, "Oh God, how are we going to tie in all these plots?" You know, you could tell these were written to tie in. It's almost like an EastEnders set in, you know, in a land infested with zombies. Like the zombies are second to what's going on, and it's the human relationships. And just every once in a while, you have your normal row, battles, your normal fights, and then in the middle fight, but hang on, there's zombies, we'll have to drop what we're doing now, deal with that. But then it'll be about 7:30, and it's that kind of vibe that you trying to live a normal life.
Characters trying to retain their humanity in what is now a very brutal world. If that sounds like something that interests you, then you've got to check out The Walking Dead if you haven't already. It's definitely awesome comic bookery. It's out this week, issue number 77. Point like maybe a year ago where I just thought this Hulk series is just really not having it. It's really cool now though. I mean, it's just I love the dynamic of the kind of new smarter Hulk with Bruce back in control a little bit. The stuff that they've got going on with Thunderbolt Ross I think is cool. The way that that's all plugging into the different stories and the different wider Marvel universe I think is very cool as well. Plus the art is pretty nice on this as well.
I'm going to agree with it. I was actually against the Red Hulk for quite a while because I thought, it feels like another franchise, why do we need another Hulk? But where they've gone with this, you know, I've got every single issue and each one has kept me hooked, and this right here is off the chart. I don't really want to give anything away. I mean, you can see what could happen in the issue. It's amazing. And for me it was the art on this one. I absolutely love the art and the character art too, and the fighting. It's the art for me.
Okay, so check it out. Issue 25 of Hulk is on the stands right now. Tons of stuff out this week. Not everything can get a full review, but I'd like to point you towards this week's issue of Thor, which I really enjoyed.
Here we've got X-Men Xenogenesis. Issue, well, it's 3 out of 5. Dr. Crocodile was awesome, and that's my favourite.
Warren Ellis doing the X-Men is always great fun.
I've got here The Avengers, issue 5. Trapped in time. If anyone's reading it, it looked like Tony Stark was going to be kaput. Who knows? He still might be.
I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I think that the ultimate version of Spider-Man at the moment is really cool. Brian Michael Bendis is doing great work on this, I think.
And Shadowland Moon Knight, issue 2 of 3, searching for the Sapphire Crescent. I liked it very, very much. I liked some of the warrior sort of fighting scenes. Favourite here. Absolutely awesome.
You can't see this, but it's cool.
Well, I don't know if I should tell anyone. It's the Secret Avengers.
It's here at last. The 3rd issue of Nemesis finally hits the stands. Fortunately, it's well worth the wait.
It's so dark and nasty, and the violence is pretty rotten at times in this. I like the fight scenes. There are about 3 pages of no dialogue at all, just fight. That was pretty awesome, and it's spine chilling, really. It's
just really sick and twisted levels of violence, but also it's not just action. It's there's a real nasty psychological edge to this character in the way that he manipulates and plays with people and their families and their feelings. It's really horrendously bad. This is a bad guy. Really horrible bad guy.
What I enjoy about his character is that he's probably the most evil man I've ever, I was going to say met, but read about, and he wears a white costume, and Batman is, you know, he's the opposite of Batman. And my jaw actually dropped reading this. It's not even just the level of violence in it, but it's the dialogue and the whole way the plot is driven. And each of these issues are standalone, but as a series together, it's just stunning. You know, it's hard for me to say who's better, whether it's Miller or Ennis as writers, and I tell you what, I mean, these two are like heavyweights. And, you know, this is like Mike Tyson, it's biting your ear off.
It's Mark Miller, Steve McNiven. It's a beautiful looking book, it's a beautifully written book, and one that we can't recommend highly enough. Nemesis issue 3 is out this week. Grab yourself a copy. That's your lot for this week. Thanks to Kasumi and to Alex for joining me. We'll be back next week with more comic books, more music. Make sure you join us then. Before we let you go, though, let me remind you, get yourselves down to our friends here at Comicana. You can still grab yourselves a Comicana discount card, getting you a massive 10% off all your comic book purchases. So get yourself down here to Comicana on Shaftesbury Avenue. All the details are on the end of the show. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Peace out.